Welcome back to the woods at Lone Pine Tarot, or welcome for the first time if you're just finding your way here. In this pick a card reading, we will unveil a message that your future self left here for you before whatever storm you're going through even hit. This will help you weather the chaos through clarity, some advice, and a glimpse of the path waiting on the other side. Here are today's 3 pile choices. Over here on the left for pile 1, we have Heaven Sent. In the middle for pile 2, we have Bring It Into Form. And for pile 3 on the right, we have Inner Trust. Pause here if you do need an extra moment, but when you are ready, your timestamp is waiting in the description. I'll see you in the stillness between the thunder. Hello there, pile number 1. Welcome to your future self message. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to Heaven Sent, or perhaps the number 33 for your pile leader of choice today. Now let's draw first your other oracle cards and see what it is your future self wants to say to you today. So speaking of future self of pile 1, can you send some divine messages to them to help them weather through whatever is going on in their life right now? What do you want them to know? Thank you. Well, this one is quite prominent, so we'll take it. Actually, there's 2. Oh, there's 3. Here. I'm going to actually shuffle these 3 and see which one comes out prominently. All right, we'll take this one. And then from the Elle Qui Oracle, and last but not least, we have the Sacred Destiny today. And this one is quite prominent, so we'll also take that. Thank you, future self of pile 1. Let's unveil these now. We have Protection with the Oak Tree. Very fitting for a reading that mentions the storm, because literally the oak tree is protecting from a storm of some sort here with the lightning strikes at the very top. There is one. And then the Elle Qui Oracle today is She Who Forgives with Elixir, Remorse, Guilt, Forgiveness. And your Lantern Oracle today is number 18, Radical Honesty. And the bottom says, to believe in the facade is to suffocate in the armor of alienation, self-defeat, and self-denial. So it's interesting because actually I just realized we have protection mentioned twice, sort of indirectly. Of course, obviously your protection card, but number 2, the Radical Honesty card is a figure putting on her armor, like she's trying to defend herself from something. So I almost wonder if many of you, no, this might not resonate with all of you, but many of you might have some concern recently around protecting yourself in some way. And I know Elixir does talk about forgiveness, but intuitively I'm almost more drawn to the idea that it's like an elixir of protection of oneself, or an elixir to like cure or like fix something going on in your life right now. Like, especially too, when we think of the word elixir, we think of like a miracle cure to something. So I'm trying to see more about what precisely is going on with each and every one of you. Of course, you're all going to be different, but even too with Heaven Sent, like I think of an idea of like, ooh, something from above, like something that's almost like a miracle. It's like you're looking for too, maybe healing in some way, because I think of that too with Elixir number 1, but then all of the green color and green and like yellow energy popping forward makes me think of, you know, the solar plexus chakra, of course, as well as the heart chakra. So healing and confidence and kind of the center of your energy. I wonder too if maybe some of you have been feeling a physical weakness lately, although I don't think that isn't like the main part of what's been going on. But obviously too, if you've been very stressed lately, it makes total sense that perhaps you've also been mentally exhausted, therefore like physically exhausted on top of it. So let's delve into your tarot cards a little bit early today. I want to see if there's more specifics about what's going on. And then of course too, we'll delve into your advice from your future self on how to navigate this storm, so to speak. So, all right, I'm actually going to take these 2 together. I'll take them this way. So protecting yourself from something, a cure, putting on your armor, hoping for something. And then from tarot, we have the Ace of Wands reversed. Okay, speaking of physical burnout, I think this is kind of spot on with what I was talking about earlier with that, because the Ace of Wands reversed can represent a time where we feel burnt out. We feel like we're exhausted. We don't really have like a lot of energy for something. Maybe really the storm you've been weathering lately, pile 1, is mostly about you wanting to protect your energy in some way, or wondering why you've lost your energy with something. But let's keep going. And then we have the Seven of Wands reversed. Once again, can actually be a burnout kind of card, especially in terms of defending ourselves, like we've lost our will to fight for something. Because you can see here in the upright version of the card, he's literally fending off 6 different wands, and he only has one himself in order to do so. And reversed, it's almost like feeling like we're losing that fight, especially because this is like the inciting incident cards. This is kind of what's like leading up to what's been going on right now with you. And then the second card I see is like the recent past, is this feeling of like, oh man, I want to give up, or I'm tired, or I'm exhausted, things like that. And then we have, oh beautiful, we have the Empress in the heart of the matter. And the Empress is all about creative energy specifically. So I do think your future self is trying to say, for those of you that maybe this burnout is specifically related to creativity, though of course not all of you might resonate with that, but those who do, that this is slowly about to change, especially because, as I said, Empress is about creative energy in some way, but she's also feminine energy. She's also a card of nurturing, finally having time to actually practice self-care, as I should put it. And so another thing I'm hearing too is things finally paying off in terms of growth. It's like things finally getting to fruition after a very long period of having planted the seed and kind of waiting for things to grow. So it could be this exhaustion too, is that you have been really burnt out with just waiting for something to come to fruition, pile 1. And maybe really that's what protection is about too, because it's like you're trying to protect your energy in terms of, it's like your future self trying to protect your energy in terms of like not letting you let that fire go out, which you're kind of maybe on the cusp of, or you're very tempted to because of how exhausting it has been. Let's keep going. But then we have the Two of Cups reversed, which I think in the near future position might be a piece of advice for you. And then last but not least, we have the Queen of Swords as the outcome, or also sometimes I do see the outcome as an advice card too. Well, I will tell you this, pile 1. The Queen of Swords as an outcome is a great card in terms of overcoming your challenges, because the sword suit in tarot is often about dealing with challenges that come across or come up in life, is how I should put that. And so, especially because she's the air element out of the different queens, she is about clearing out those challenges through the power of the mind and through logic. So I will tell you this, I see that as a positive outcome because she's upright, meaning I think you're actually going to get through whatever this storm that you've been going through is, especially fitting because being an air card, she literally is like a queen of storms. Like she's able to brave them. She knows how to handle them and navigate them because she's used to them. Okay, so I think a lot of what will get you through this situation is relying on your experiences in the past that have been very similar. Okay, so to logical plans and the ability to think through things strategically. That's another really good keyword to use with the Queen of Swords. Although I think based on your efforts so far already, because the Empress is in your present position, you're already on the cusp of growth anyways. You're already on the cusp of things improving from what I can see. And two, I almost see the Queen of Swords as a figure of protection as well, because she does have a sword versus like, the queens that have, a wand or a pentacle or a cup. They're not really defensive type items, whereas a sword actually is for defense or offense. And that combined with, the armor of radical honesty and the protection symbolism of the oak tree against the storm, I think too, this is your future self just reassuring you, yes, you're going to weather through it just fine with protection, especially if you do lean into, that Queen of Swords energy being, I'm going to think this through logically and I'm going to try to figure out how to, get through this through the power of planning and through the power of being smart about how to navigate all of this. Now, I am interested in your elixir card especially, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. I'll draw a clarifier on that because I don't know, that one's a little bit more mysterious to me. But in general, yes, I think you will weather through just fine. I'm not saying anything negative here. And then the Two of Cups reversed is interesting because typically that card means disharmony or a lack of unity in some way, especially with other people. So I almost wonder if part of this thing you've been exhausted with has involved another person or maybe multiple people, in terms of maybe, you're having a hard time getting harmony going. Maybe people are just disagreeing on things, or they're not on the same page, or just divided rather than united in some way, okay? It also means sometimes I read the Two of Cups as a relationship with self card. So it's very possible that it's kind of representing, especially if you have been exhausted lately and you haven't had time for self-care, it makes total sense that maybe your connection or relationship with yourself has been a little bit severed lately. So, I mean, it sounds cliche, pile one, but your future self is also saying to make sure you make time for self-care here in the near future, because I think you're through the worst of it. I think that's why so many negative cards are in the past. You have like the burnout of the Ace of Wands reversed, or the lacking your spark is maybe another phrase I can use with that. And then you have the feeling like, oh man, I can't fight anymore, with the Seven of Wands reversed. But that is past energy for you. Thankfully, everything in the future, other than maybe the self-care advice of the Two of Cups reversed, is pretty much just smooth sailing. Although the Two of Cups reversed can also mean that a part of your advice, if there are other people involved with whatever has been making you feel burnt out or exhausted, it can be your future self saying your best thing to focus on, other than obviously, planning everything out with logic and strategy like a Queen of Swords would do, is to also focus as much as you can on encouraging harmony in the situation and encouraging people reaching out to each other and crossing bridges and trying to bridge gaps. Because I know a lot of you might say, well, it's also in the control of the other people in the situation, and that is very true, pile one. You don't have control over what other people can do in the situation. So yes, if something's out of your control, it's not like your future self saying, control the other person. You can't do that, right? But at the same time, where possible, if there's any possible way you could try to bridge gaps and promote more harmony in the situation and people getting along, that might be one avenue you could try in terms of advice for making sure you weather through everything okay. Which, I think you're already on that path right now based on the outcome of the Queen of Swords, but at the same time, even if our future self knows that we're going to weather through just fine, it can mean that this will make the path even smoother if you take this reversed card's advice into account. Okay, so just self-care, try to encourage harmony where you can. And now too, before I draw the clarifier cards on, say, Elixir, for example, most prominently, I do want to talk about radical honesty, and I'll reread what the bottom says. It says, 18, radical honesty. To believe in the facade is to suffocate in the armor of alienation, self-defeat, and self-denial. And it's interesting because another meaning of the Queen of Swords, or swords in general in tarot, is truth. It's the suit of communication, of things being clear in terms of the way we speak. And that's literally, what radical honesty means, is to be clear in the way that we speak with others. I think another piece of advice here based on that is combining the Queen of Swords with radical honesty is to make sure, pile one, that when you're going through the end of this storm, or whatever it's chaotic in your life right now, it is better for you to be radically honest about maybe things that have been bugging you, or to be radically honest about how things are actually going, or to be radically honest about how tired or burned out you really are, than to deny it. Because the armor in her particular depiction in her art is the armor of putting on a facade that's not true. Now, it's not to say that you're being, like a liar, pile one. Not that. I think, obviously with it being the symbolism of armor, it makes sense that it's for self-protection. Maybe you're thinking, well, if I'm honest about the way that I'm burnt out, maybe people will judge me, or they'll tell me I'm just being, weak. Or maybe I'll think to myself, it could be more of a self-defeating thing rather than other people judging you. Maybe you self-judge and think, well, if I admit that I need more help or, more self-care, or that I can't do this all alone, maybe you'll think, and judge to yourself that you're too weak for something. But there's something here in this situation where being radically honest about how you really feel and how you're really doing, that will help unlock the success or the weathering through this chaos that you're looking for. Being radically honest is the key to get you out of the metaphorical jail cell of where you feel stuck right now. Okay. So I just wanted to mention that. So where you feel like you might be hiding behind a facade, your future self is saying, don't be afraid to kind of let that fade a little bit and let honesty shine through a little bit more clearly. All right, so let's get that clarity on the elixir card. I also want to maybe do one more on protection as well. So can you give me a clarifier of future self of pile 1 on either card? Thank you. Okay, there is one. We have the 3 of Cups reversed, and I meant that for elixir, but it fell out right next to protection quite abruptly, so I'm going to take that as for protection. I almost wonder, too, if there's an element of this situation where there's been a social group that's been negative that you've been hoping for protection from. Maybe that's why, as I was saying before, there's this feeling of need to have armor because you're afraid of, like, what this social group will think of you if you admit that you need more help, or, like, maybe you felt that way in the first place, that you had to put armor on because there have already been negative people affecting the situation, in which case maybe you're feeling like attacked. Maybe you're feeling like you've had to, keep putting up your shield against something. Maybe that's why that 7 of Wands reversed came out and you're just tired of it. You're so sick of it. You're like, ugh. Let me grab one more clarifier on that protection card too. Future self, what should they do about that situation if that resonates with them? Thank you. Oh, interesting. We have the 8 of Wands reversed. Usually that means to slow things down, pile 1. And Justice reversed. I think you need to stand up for yourself more, pile 1. And I know that's difficult, and some of you might say, well, I already tried to stand up for myself, it didn't work. Or you might say, well, these people have power over me and it won't work. But I don't know. I think especially because swords are so prominent here, not just the Queen of Swords holding a sword, but you already have 2 Justice holding a sword herself. Her being reversed is like an advice to follow justice more, to look and yearn for justice more. So I think there's something your future self is saying about slowing down when it comes to a negative group that you feel like you need to protect yourself against. And making sure to stand up for yourself more, okay, as much as you can, assuming, that you haven't already done as much as you can in that area already, okay? So keep that in mind, and then let's get some clarifiers on elixir. Okay, well, I can't take 500 cards. Let's shuffle that again. We have, God, there's so many negative group influences. And it's interesting, you got 3 twice, and you got 33 for your Heaven Sent. Remember, 3 of Pentacles, Cups reversed, and now you got the 3 of Pentacles reversed. I wonder if a lot of you, this is like a group of 3 people, or you included, it makes up to be like 3 people involved in the situation. So lack of teamwork is the 3 of Pentacles reversed. And then the Devil. Look at this negative energy. I don't know who you've been dealing with, pile 1, but they're just not fun. I can tell you that. Like, this is not fun energy right here. I wonder, too, if some of you, the situation is partially as well, like they try to make you feel guilty for something that went wrong, but it wasn't necessarily your fault. It was like a group effort, but then they blamed you for it. And, like, it's like they're kind of, maybe, with the Devil especially, the Devil can be about trapping someone or feeling, like, stuck or chained to something that's negative. And especially with the 3 of Pentacles reversed, it's like a lack of teamwork or something that was supposed to be a group effort, but it wasn't. Or, like, they left you in the cold and, like, high and dry, making you do all the work when it was supposed to be, like, a group effort. In which case, pile 1, your future self is saying to forgive yourself for that. I don't really necessarily feel that this is your fault intuitively, based on what I'm picking up on here for you. I think the people involved, you probably know this already, but if you don't know this already, like, they're just a negative influence. I mean, that Devil card is not so great. The Three of Pentacles is not so great, reversed especially. Don't chain yourself to the guilt of whatever was supposed to be a group effort that they left you high and dry on, okay? It's not your fault. And I think another just one final prominent message here is, just to repeat it, but it needs to be said, your future self is saying you're on the right path here, especially towards truth and towards things turning out fine. But what would really help you is to be very honest about the truth of what actually happened. Like, especially if, maybe a group of people have been lying about you in some way to make you look bad, to make themselves look better or whatever, etc. Do not be afraid to speak up and get justice for yourself. Okay? It is a better armor to tell the truth here than it is to hide behind a lie, is what your future self is saying that I'm hearing right now, okay? And that will help you weather through even more. That will be your protection. So just keep those things in mind, and I think everything, well, already it seems like it is going to clear, but it'll be all that much a more fantastic clearing of the storm, is how I'll put it, if you do follow this advice, okay? So that was your future self message today, pile number 1. I hope, number 1, that it helped you. That's my main concern with these pick a card readings. You feel helped in some way, but also you liked it, it resonated, and if so, please like the video, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much if you choose to do any one of those 3 things. And as we always say in our tradition on Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day or your night, and I hope to see you again in the woods someday soon. Bye, pile 1. Hello there, pile number 2. Welcome to your future self message for today. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to Bring It Into Form, or number 41 as your pile leader. So let's start with your oracle card spread. Calling on your future self for your highest, best good. What do you want pile 2 to know today about the storm that they're going through, metaphorically speaking? That was quick. We have Broken Dreams, number 23. Only you can accept or reject your dreams. We have a figure who is looking over, looks like eggshells, and her reflection is a bit cracked in the mirror as well. And then from Elle Qui today, you have She Who Surprises with Bryce. And the keywords are, well, surprise, discovery, and revelation. Oh, I wonder, pile 2, if recently there's something regarding a dream that you have or a goal that you've been working on where a surprise came up. And it might have shattered the dream a little bit, or maybe not fully shattered the dream, but it could have potentially shaken your faith in that particular goal or that dream that you've been working on. But let's keep going, getting some more info. Then we have security. Perhaps it's related to security of some sort. Maybe literally you've been working on some sort of business or dream or goal regarding your security, or security in general. It could be, well, this is really out there, but maybe it'll resonate with some of you. Perhaps it's related to working, as a security guard for something, or something that's about preserving or securing things. Maybe that's part of the career that you've been working on, if that's related to your goal. Or 2, it can just mean in general that this dream was related to your security in terms of your finances. And maybe that's why it kind of shook you, because even, the depiction here of security, it's like the campfire underneath the cave, kind of protecting against the unknown of the universe. And I'm intuitively feeling it's like related to that surprise that came forward. It's like that unknown kind of leaked in, that thing that you didn't know was just lurking right outside, and kind of breached that security a little bit. It could have been maybe a sudden financial issue. It could have been possibly I don't know, it feels like to me intuitively like this monkey wrench or this complete plot twist that you weren't expecting, or like a leak in a roof. Maybe that's literal for some of you. Maybe that home security thing is literally like you got a leak in your roof, but it could also mean metaphorically in terms of what I'm seeing, like the signs might have been there, but it was so minimal and so small that it was really hard to expect it. Like everybody in your situation, pile 2, would have missed it, like, for the most part. Just one of those things in life where this monkey wrench or this plot twist comes in and you don't expect it, and it's like nobody can blame you for having missed it, but at the same time, I wonder if some of you are self-blaming a little bit, because here with Broken Dreams, I always interpret this particular card with the shattered mirror on the side here as like her identity has felt kind of shattered. Like maybe you're the person who always, has it all done and everything's secure and like you never have to worry because you plan everything. But this one thing maybe slipped through the cracks and you're like, oh God, there goes my identity as being the one that plans for everything or the one that always knows how to handle everything. And that's the thing though, pile 2, is I'm especially hearing your future self saying that, well, number one, just to repeat, nobody or like everybody would have probably missed this thing like you did, so don't take it personally or don't let it affect your self-esteem or your belief in yourself. But then number 2, everybody in life has monkey wrenches and plot twists that come along, and oftentimes it really just is out of our control. And sometimes things happen in terms of fate, because what happens negatively or what broke a certain dream or a certain path was because, number one, it potentially was not meant for us. That's one possibility. But number 2, it can mean that we're being led to somewhere better. So I know a surprise or this monkey wrench / plot twist at first maybe seemed really negative. But I'm almost hearing too that the surprise can also be like I'm hearing the word echo. It's like an echo of the surprise on the other side of this, in terms of, yes, there's this negative surprise, but also there might be a positive surprise waiting on the other side. It's almost like, speaking of storms, the other image coming through is a rainbow, and the rainbow, well, comes after the storm, after the rain. So it's like a surprise of something happy happening after like the bad thing has passed. So I don't know. You think maybe that all is lost right now, but I'm hearing as a tarot reader that not all really is lost. Or there's something to be salvaged from this that will lead to an even greater zenith of success afterwards than had you just continued on that one path. And let me look at your Bring It Into Form card here for a moment too, because we kind of see that echo here in terms of the reflection of her foot on the water. And it's like two opposites, like kind of the same thing, but it's happening on either side of one gateway. Like, the unhappy surprise at first, and then after all of the storm is done and all the chaos has been reined in, a happy surprise of some sort. But Bring It Into Form, of course, can also mean, at least to me, like making something tangible rather than something just staying intangible in some way. So it's very possible, too, that the happy surprise afterwards can make, or like it makes something tangible that wasn't available to you before. Let's look at your tarot cards, pile 2. I want to see more about those. Future self of pile 2. Can you tell us more about the situation? Maybe tie some synchronicities together. Let's see if I can get the deck together. It just kind of wants to stick for some reason. Okay. We have, the moon reversed, an illusion breaking. So that could have been a very possible, pile 2, that a lot of you, this negative surprise that initially occurred here with this dream or goal of yours was an illusion that broke. Like you thought something was going one way or looked one way, and then you turned around and actually, boom, the illusion drops, and you realize, oh, that actually, in reality, was more like this rather than what I thought it was. That's kind of the energy of the moon reversed having popped out. Let's keep going. And then we have the Eight of Pentacles reversed. Can feel like our work was for nothing. No wonder why you're feeling kind of down lately. And this is really probably the main energy of the storm that you're going through metaphorically right now, is this feeling of, man, all this work has been for nothing. I feel like everything is just down the drain after this occurred. But I don't know. I keep hearing that your effort wasn't for naught, pile 2. Let's keep going. And then we have the Four of Swords, which is rest. And that's very beautiful as your Heart of the Matter or central card today, pile 2, because I think after all of this kind of energy and this storm that you've been going through, and no wonder why if a dream broke or this illusion broke and things seem all lost, the Four of Swords is a really beautiful... I mean, to continue the storm metaphor, it's like the eye of the storm. It's like things finally calming down. You're like, oh, okay, now I can breathe and I can kind of look around. I can pick up the pieces after this metaphorical tornado went through and just completely threw everything into chaos, right? It's a card of 2, finally being able to slow down a little bit. So I think you're just on the cusp of this improving through the power of rest and through the power of things kind of dying down. So obviously, like, especially for those of you, like, this was a really major setback. No wonder why you've been feeling kind of chaotic, because a lot of major setbacks require a lot of, running around, trying to fix things. But then the Four of Swords comes and it's like, okay, now I can breathe. Now I can finally slow down a little bit. Things are a little bit more chill. You're just on the cusp of that if you're not already feeling that already with this being the present position card. But let's get going to the future / the advice cards. And then we have the Star reversed. Can mean needing to have more hope or faith in things, but let's keep going. And the final card, the Two of Cups reversed. Interesting twist. I'm actually going to draw one more clarifier on that one, because so far we've been talking a lot about goals, and then all of a sudden with that Two of Cups, a relationship card came out. So some of you, it might be, this is actually like a relationship of some sort that maybe something went chaotic with, but we'll see. We have Temperance, more water, and balance and moderation. Okay, we'll leave that as the clarifier there. So let's look at all of this in totality. We already talked about the Moon and the Eight of Pentacles reversed, or both reversed, I should say. So I won't repeat that too much. And then the Calm with the Four of Swords. However, you do have a lot of advice here in the future, especially for those of you that are currently, like, this is a relationship related goal that maybe went awry. Maybe that's part of the, the security that was lost, was the feeling of the security in the relationship. And, or it might not even have to be romantic. It can be like maybe a friendship broke apart, etc. Whatever relationship means to you. For those of you that are in that position, I would read the Two of Cups reversed as an outcome as, like, I don't want to sugarcoat it, but I want to say that I think it is, right now on the path that you're on, something that will kind of, like, it's not meant for unity or harmony in the end. Like, I think it might be an indicator towards that relationship kind of staying apart. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's for the worse, okay? Sometimes when relationships are broken apart, it's because we were not meant for each other, number one. It's because there was something better for us out there. It's because sometimes we just are on different paths, or, maybe this other person, if this is like a romantic relationship as an example, or a friendship, etc., you realize afterwards, well, maybe really that wasn't the best person for me. And so that opens up new doorways for you for happy surprises on the other side. Now, if you hear me say that and you're like, oh my God, this relationship's not going to work out, and you're panicking right now, so hear me out. You can change this outcome. The universe is not always set in stone. In fact, a lot of it is nebulous, pile 2. You can change these things. However, if you want to change that outcome, you do have a bit of advice here, especially with Temperance and the Star reversed, okay? So the Star reversed in terms of advice can mean to have more hope or faith in things and to not be, like, as pessimistic about things. In your case, if you really want to save this relationship, that would mean to not think that that setback, whatever it was, is immediately like the final set in stone. This is completely broken. There's nothing salvageable here. Okay, it's to be a little bit more optimistic about it, of course, assuming that it's not a toxic relationship, assuming that it's a good one and you want to keep it, right? If it's a toxic relationship, I would never advise you to stay, of course. But, and then Temperance too can mean to approach things with moderation and not emotional or mental extremes. Okay, so that's kind of like I was saying before about not thinking that just because, one thing went wrong, it doesn't mean the whole thing is just completely to be thrown into the trash, I guess, is to put that. For those of you that this is not a relationship, you're not resonating with that part of the interpretation, I I can see this broken dream maybe being, I mean, that Two of Cups reversed can mean as an outcome a lack of harmony with self. Sometimes I read the Two of Cups as our relationship with ourself, in which case it can mean like this, what's the best word to use? I'm trying to think, especially with Temperance, it's like, yeah, if it's not a relationship, pile 2. If it's more of an actual dream outside of your connections to other people, I think your future self is saying not to give hope on it yet. Not to give up hope. Because that's what the Star reversed means, is that you're giving in too early. I think, now the Two of Cups reversed as an outcome is technically negative. But I'll tell you the same thing I told the other half of this pile, that it might be a relationship for them. For you, like I said, it might be like a goal or a dream. You can change that. The future is most of the time not set in stone. And when tarot predicts the future, at least in my personal opinion, it's things that we can change. The timeline isn't set. Okay, so if you want to change this dream from being broken, pile 2, have more optimism. Similar to what I told the people in this reading that were resonating with the relationship interpretation. Look at things with silver linings. Look at things with a little bit more hope in mind, okay? Because the Star, I forgot to tell you this earlier, actually often comes in tarot right after the Tower. And the Tower is the moment of disastrous change or great change of some sort. The Tower falls down. Uh-oh. You know, maybe that's what you had before, was a Tower moment of some sort. But the Star always comes right afterwards to remind us that even when things seem their most dim, even when things seem their most like there's no way we can pick up after this point, the Star comes out after the storm and says, hey, wait a minute, there's still hope here somewhere. So your future self is saying there's still hope here if you want to work for it, if you want to keep going at it. It's not completely done and over yet. It's like the point in a story, like you ever watch a movie or read a book where you have a dark night of the soul, like the characters and the protagonists are like, oh no, the villain won, or the thing we were trying to stop won, and there's no hope from here. Like you're currently in that energy right now, pile 2. But then when you move forward, like the characters in those movies and books do, etc., they realize, oh, there's still hope here somewhere. There's still some sort of glimpse of light, of a path out of what seems like the end of what I could possibly do. So look around yourself right now. Is there absolutely anything, possibly anything, whether this is a relationship or a goal or a dream for you, no matter what group you fall into with this pile, is there absolutely anything around you that you could do within your control to keep this going? And if so, if you want it to work out, your future self is saying you do have the opportunity and the ability to do so. Okay, so don't give up hope yet, and tackle it with moderation in mind with the Temperance card. That's all about moderation, taking things balanced, or doing things in a balanced, moderated way. All right. Now, I do want to hear about the happy surprise at the end, because I know some of you maybe, I don't know, some of you probably clicked off the moment I said, oh, maybe not the greatest outcome so far unless you work on it, right? But those of you who stuck around after I said that, I didn't sugarcoat it, right? Thank you for sticking around, by the way, if you did that. I want to see what the happy surprise is on the other end for you. Because I think there is if you keep going. Or even if it doesn't 100% work out, pile 2, and you realize, well, maybe I really don't want to keep pursuing this relationship or goal or dream. I want to start with something new. Even for you guys, there's a happy surprise, I think, waiting on the other side. So let's ask that. Future self of pile 2, what's the happy surprise? If they keep going, or even if they don't and do something new. Okay, so the happy surprise, we have the King of Pentacles reversed, which would normally be a negative card, but when I'm asking about something improving, I see reversals as that's the thing that's going to improve. So we'll talk about that in a second. And then we have the Nine of Wands reversed. Finding our gumption again, and then let's pull one last card. Ah, beautiful. We have the Five of Pentacles reversed. So this is typically negative when it's upright. But like I said, this is, well, it is reversed right now. So reading this in the way I would read a blessing reading, because we're asking about the happy surprise. I always have to kind of explain that because sometimes in comments people are like, well, why do you interpret it that way? You're lying or whatever. So anyways, I always explain just in case I don't get I don't want an angry comment. Anyways, okay. So for you, pile 2, with the happy surprise, there's something here about attaining greater control over career and finances because of that King of Pentacles. That's usually his area of reign, is stability, especially with external things, with money and our job. And then the Nine of Wands reversed, usually, as I said, would be negative. However, in this kind of part of the reading, I would read it as finally getting our determination back for something, which makes sense because you've been maybe totally burnt out and disheartened here so far. But I think that financial or career little perk up may lead to you getting the second wind with that Nine of Wands and finally thinking, okay, I can bring this through. I can keep going with this fight. Just like I was saying before with the movie or book characters, usually they find that one thing after the dark night of the soul and they're like, oh, hope is not all lost. I can keep going. So it's something around that for you. And then in the end, what it does with the Five of Pentacles reversed, which is, well, it's positive when it's reversed, is overcoming the hardship or the setback that we have gone through, especially related to financial and career stresses, because it is a Pentacles card. So, I know for those of you that see this particular reading as more of a relationship interpretation, you're like, well, what does that career financial stuff have to do with me? But whatever happens with you guys with the relationship interpretation, I do see something coming out of this improving with your finances and your career. Okay, so you're very similar to the other group where it's more about a broken dream or a hope or a goal of some sort, where wherever the path leads, be you make the choice towards giving up on this old relationship or this old dream, or you decide to keep going with it, which I think your future self is telling you to keep trying, as long as you know that there's something salvageable there, right? Either way, in the end, it leads to this career financial improvement in some way. So that's the happy surprise waiting on the other end of this for you. Okay. So that's your reading for today, my wonderful pile 2. I hope that, well, number 1, you stuck through that part where I didn't sugarcoat things, but I want to be an honest tarot reader, so thank you if you did to this point. And if it helped you, if it resonated, if you liked the reading, please like the video, comment down below, subscribe if you haven't done so already. And thank you so much if you choose to do any one of those 3 things, if not more. And as we say in our tradition on Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day or your night. And I will see you again, hopefully sometime in the woods soon. Bye, pile 2. Hello there, my wonderful pile 3. Welcome to your future self reading for today. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to Inner Trust or number 2 as your pile leader. But let us draw your other oracle cards to begin. And we'll call on your future self for your highest, best, good. Future self of pile 3. What do you want them to know about the storm that they're weathering right now? Okay. And here is our final oracle deck for the day. Let's see. Didn't shuffle that very well the first time, but that's okay. And there we go. Okay, pile 3, let's unveil. You have from the Sacred Destiny the card of release with the autumn tree. Perhaps there's some theme about letting things go or embracing change in some way or having to weather through a change that maybe you didn't expect, but let's see what else. Oh, we actually have the autumn leaves come up again. There with Mora, she who hesitates, with ponder, delay, and confidence as her keywords. A lot of synchronicity so far, especially those autumn leaves, which autumn does represent a time of change and release, as I was saying before. And then from, well, speaking of storms, we literally have a storm in the background here of the confusion card you received. Number 36, growth hurts, heals, and harnesses away through the uncertainty. So pile 3. I feel like your storm, metaphorically, that you've been going through recently, your future self is speaking about, is a time where, I don't know, I feel like you've had just a really difficult time navigating through what's been going on. I almost wonder if it's not just one change, but it's been like a series of changes in your life recently that you just didn't expect. Like, I'm hearing intuitively, like, there's periods of time in life where it feels like for months on end, like nothing really changes. It's just ho-hum, everything's kind of the same. And then all of a sudden, the plot twist of fate comes around, and then there's like a lot of changes that come forward, and it's just so much to navigate. Or maybe even like at pile 3, you expected this change, but at the same time, navigating it has been more difficult perhaps than you expected or you were suspecting when you first agreed to take on the change, or at least when you first saw it coming on the horizon. It's almost metaphorically, I'm hearing like you expected just a gentle rain shower to keep this door metaphor going, and then all of a sudden it turned into just this tornado of chaos, and you're just like, uh-oh, what is going on? I thought this was going to be a lot smoother than I expected. So especially too with the theme of change being so prominent in your cards today, especially with all the autumn imagery here, and the storm too. Storms represent change. I almost wonder if, I know a lot of you are just going through, it could be moving, it could be a job change, it could be a major relationship change of some sort. So if that's the case, pile 3, no wonder why you came to this reading, because I think your future self, well, knows and or slash, of course knew when they went through the same thing you did, the uncertainty that you're feeling right now. And 2, I think with you being drawn to inner trust as your pile leader, perhaps a lot of your navigation has been and will have to be based on inner trust rather than certainties outside of yourself. But that's difficult, pile 3, because when we rely on inner trust, oftentimes we doubt our own voice on where to go. So I think that might be another part of your reading today, is your future self telling you it's okay to trust your inner voice. I wouldn't be shocked if you get the High Priestess with your tarot cards today. Put a pin in that. I always say that when I say, I wonder if you're going to get this card, because it is very satisfying and fun when it does come out. Sometimes it does, right? I think my last reading I had some cards that came out. I was like, oh, I predicted that, right? But yeah, it's this kind of a High Priestess vibe to me, is what I'm feeling, especially because she is all about inner trust and intuition and following what feels right, even when it seems like the whole world around us is this just unsolvable mystery that has been difficult to navigate. And I think, too, part of it with the confusion card is, it says growth hurts, heals, and harnesses a way through the uncertainty. Part of this massive change might be just growth on your end, too. Maybe you've had to do a lot of growing lately that you didn't expect. It's just like I said before, sometimes in life, things can be ho-hum or the same for months on end. Not just outside of ourselves, but within ourselves, where we think, we're this way and we're going to continue being this way for a long time. And then sometimes we're nudged by the universe in a certain direction to change within ourselves. And so even if it feels like the outside of yourself has been quite stable recently, like nothing's been changing too much there, maybe internally a lot of change has been going on. And so you've been feeling this storm more in terms of your emotions, maybe even your spirituality, your beliefs. It could also be this internal storm of, I'm hearing some of you, it might even be you're not even sure where you want to go in life anymore. You're maybe not 100% sure that what you wanted is really what you wanted now. So maybe that's where this delay and this confidence, this hesitation card with Mora is coming up. Maybe you were just on the precipice of something. It's like she's turning away from a gateway or a doorway here. She's turning away from it, and she's like, I do not know if I want to go through that door. But the wind is blowing. I guess technically I was going to say it was blowing at her, but it's actually blowing against her here. You can see the ribbon sash on her dress blowing this way in the leaves. I almost wonder if there is something about that gateway that is kind of blowing you back here. Maybe that's your hesitation, pile 3. You've been feeling like it was so certain for so long, and then all of a sudden this change came, and you were like, oh, I don't know, this feels a little bit more tempestuous than I expected. Too, and when I talk about growth, that is related to release and like the autumn leaves, because in order to grow something even better and newer the next year, the trees have to release their leaves, right? We let go of old energies that don't serve us anymore, and we welcome in the new. So I think there's a lot of growth inside, too. And that can be difficult, as I said, pile 3. That can be very difficult. So I think your future self wants to commend you for the growth that you've been going through. I think that's part of their message today. I'm hearing intuitively. They know it's been difficult, but at the same time, I think it's bringing you to someplace healthier is the main keyword coming out. Someplace healthier. And with greater trust in yourself, speaking of your inner trust card. All right, future self of pile 3. Anything else you want to say about this? Where is this going? Advice you have for them? Maybe more context about the situation at hand. We have the Two of Pentacles as your inciting incident card. And the Two of Pentacles feels like Stormy seas, doesn't it? I don't know if you can pick this up on camera, pile 3, but in the background we have these ships rocking on the ocean. Everything's kind of helter-skelter, to use one of my favorite terms. And even to the meaning of the Two of Pentacles is often about things needing to balance and juggle things. Okay, so like I said, maybe recently a lot of this storm, so to speak, has been the chaos of a lot of change at once. You're kind of juggling a lot of different hats, perhaps. Having to wear many different hats is maybe the better way to put that. And on top of that, being Pentacles, it can mean finances or job-related things. Lots of tasks at work that you didn't expect, or financial problems you've been having to juggle too. That can be another interpretation of the Two of Pentacles. However, you've been doing it well. So commend yourself. Pat yourself on the back for that, pile 3, because your Two of Pentacles is upright, which means you're juggling it just fine to the best of your abilities. So don't knock how hard you've been working and how well you've been doing, because you've been doing well, your future self is saying, considering the circumstances. And then we have the Four of Wands reversed. Now that can mean too, for some of you, it might not resonate with all of you, but the Four of Wands reversed is typically a card of stability being taken, or a lack of stability, or something that was done to not as much celebration as we expected. It's kind of one of those tarot cards that over time is really gained like two different interpretations. So I always kind of look at the two. A celebration is one keyword, stability is the other. And especially with the stability interpretation, it tends to mean a lack of stability in the home when it's reversed. So maybe some of you lost your home or your living place, which my condolences. If so, pile 3, no wonder why you came to this reading stressed out, if that's the case. Never fun to deal with. Or maybe something about your home went awry. Maybe you had some sort of major damage, or it could also mean, too, related to the Two of Pentacles, maybe like not the stability of the home in terms of the structure or having to move out was really the issue. It could also mean that maybe financial problems that you've been trying to juggle have also threatened the stability of the home, of course, with like the resources that you put into it to, pay your rent or your mortgage is one example, or like other things. So no wonder why things have been chaotic. Or two, for some of you, if this is more a job-related thing in terms of you having to juggle a lot of tasks at work and it's just been so chaotic and you're not sure you can handle it, you're not sure you really want to keep going with this job, perhaps, or whatever's going on here, it's very possible for you that with the celebration interpretation of this card, it's felt like no one's really celebrating you for all that you've been holding down. I mean, that does happen at work sometimes, maybe someone gets fired and so we get 2 jobs instead of 1 because we're taking on like their workload, which is crappy, but it does happen sometimes. A good manager would make sure you're not overburdened, but it does happen, unfortunately, as we all know. And it almost feels like you're not getting enough compensation or celebration for everything that you're juggling for this company that you're working at, if that's more the way that you see this interpretation working for you. So no wonder. But pat yourself on the back, even if, people outside of yourself haven't been commending you enough, your future self is commending you right now. So, and myself too, pile 3. Not fun. Been there, done that, never great. And it takes a lot of strength to be able to withstand that kind of storm. Okay, so pat yourself. Then we have for the third card, the Moon, illusions. Things are not what they seem though, pile 3. Things are not what they seem. I'm very curious about where this reading is going. I usually linger on each card, but we're going to keep going because, what do you mean, future self? We have the King of Swords. Can mean there's someone involved who is masculine energy and an air sign. Tends to be older, but not always. But also can mean, speaking of clearing storms, who is better at clearing storms than the king of the element of air in tarot, right? And then we have Temperance, beautiful at the very end with the dawning sun. Things becoming balanced again. So, you know what, pile 3? You have advice here, I'm not going to lie. But compared to the other piles today, your reading is less about advice and more about reassurance. I know there's been a lot of change. I know there's been a lot of growth. I know it's been a lot of juggling. However, based on this particular interpretation or spread of cards that you got, you're well on your way to things becoming balanced again. That's what Temperance means. It's funny, you started with having to juggle and balance things with the Two of Pentacles, and in the end you have Temperance, which is moderation, or things being kind of equilibrium focused or being settled again in certain ways. Okay, so I can guarantee you this. You will weather through the storm just fine. Okay, if that's all you need to hear today, then just at least take that with you with this reading. You're going to weather through just fine, your future self is saying. And I think really the growth that you're going through, pile 3, I know it's been difficult, but what you're gaining at the same time is really, well, number 1, it's learning how to handle chaos even more with the Temperance card. But then the King of Swords too is, and it's interesting because you go from this card of illusion with the moon, and then the King of Swords is almost like the antithesis to illusion, because he's someone who sees through things very clear, with clarity that cuts through with logic and strategy and intelligence. Okay, these changes are helping you stand out in a way of greater intelligence, of greater ability to strategize and plan for things. Not, of course, that you weren't good at that before, probably, right, pile 3, because you've been balancing so well already. I mean, that takes effort and skill already, but at the same time, I think it's making you especially sharpened into someone that is able to cut through the storm and the chaos and weather through just fine. Now, you didn't get the High Priestess like I expected, so I thought you would get the High Priestess, so I was incorrect with that, but you'll weather through just fine, pile 3. But if you do want some advice in the interim, there is something here in what's going on that is an illusion. So I'm actually going to draw clarifiers on that. I'm very curious. Future self of pile 3, can you tell me more? What's the illusion that they're going to cut through soon with the King of Swords? What's this illusion all about? Page of Pentacles reversed. Ah, okay. What's the illusion? Oh, and look, we got the Queen of Swords right next to the King. And then we've got the Two of Swords. See? Okay. The illusion, my friends. Sorry if you see a little bit of a clip there. I actually hit the side of my thing that holds up my camera, so if there's like a very abrupt clip there, it's because I had to adjust the camera. But anyways, as I was saying, the illusion here with the Moon card is you think you don't have opportunities available to you, or you think there is no choice, but there is. Okay, pile 3? Because the Page of Pentacles is often about there being opportunities around us, but when he's reversed, we're not necessarily seeing those opportunities quite yet, especially when it comes to career or finances, because it is an Earth suit card. And then, too, the Two of Swords reversed can mean that we do have a choice available to us, but we feel trapped in thinking that there is no choice out of where we are right now. And then that, combined together with the meaning of the Queen of Swords, who are very similar to the King of Swords, but feminine energy instead, is a time when we're encouraged to look within ourselves and logically think through, have I really exhausted every opportunity or choice that is around me? Okay? And I think if you think deeply, pile 3, about it, you might find that there is a perspective or an opportunity on the situation that you didn't consider yet that can help you weather through this even more smoothly. Now, right now, you are in a timeline towards balance and things coming to equilibrium with Temperance, don't get me wrong. But your future self is saying there's even more that you could do here to cut through this illusion of feeling like there's no opportunity or choice. There is something you can do. Okay, and your hint is it's related to finances or career. It's related to where you think you don't have a choice. And it's something that you can logically come to a conclusion to. And two, some of you overall with this reading might be just on the cusp of deciding if you want to change something or not. And you've been kind of hesitating, as we talked about with Maura, or releasing something or holding on to it. I think for you guys, part of the illusion too is the idea that you have to give up one or the other, or you have to do one path or the other. I would almost see this as a nudge, at least what I'm hearing intuitively from your future self, that there is a middle way that you can go with if you think about it a little bit more. Okay, brainstorm it a little bit. I don't think it will require maybe as much change as you're expecting. Okay, that's what I'm hearing. Beautiful. So other than me accidentally smacking the side of the thing that holds my camera, apologies for that little clip. Like I said, I try not to do that, but I got excited with the tarot deck. I hope you liked your reading, pile 3. I hope that it helped you and it resonated. That's my number one concern, is that, it helps you. And if so, please like the video, comment down below, please subscribe if you haven't done so already. And thank you so much if you choose to do any one of those 3 things, if not more than one. Helps the channel a lot when you guys do that, helps it grow. Turns it from, little tiny channel it is right now, helps it get bigger. So thank you if you do choose to do that. And as we say in our tradition on Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day or your night. And I hope to see you sometime again in the woods someday soon. Bye, pile 3.